Hello there, and welcome to the first ever real episode of my podcast. What's it called? I don't really know yet. You'll see the title, I guess. Um, so today, I was thinking, because this podcast, I think, will mainly be focusing on the creation process of the story that I'm making right now. The working title right now is Trolldom, or rather in Swedish, Trolldom, meaning like almost like witchcraft, I guess you could say, but trolls. Um, so what I want to talk about in this first ever episode is actually about the main character, because you might not believe me, but I've not created the main character yet. I've yet to think of what the main character will be in this story. So far, I have only focused on creating the magic system for the world, because it is so much fun to just think of how the magic in this world works. Like I had a general idea of like how difficult I wanted magic to be in this world to begin with. And then I just kept spinning on with different ideas and like workarounds to different rules that I've set up and stuff like that. And now I have like almost 8 pages of just the magic system. Um, but it's been a lot of fun. So that's why I haven't been focusing a lot on characters. I've had a few characters, so I'm going to look at my document here. I'm going to scroll down to the characters. So right now I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 characters that I've thought about. I haven't finished anything. I've only just, I have some general ideas. I have one character that basically, like, this entire story idea, that like the concept that I have is basically built around this character. And I think I can even show you on the video version of this. If we just hold on, I guess I'll cut here. There we go. Maybe I'll put him over here. So this guy is called Barry Petal, and this isn't the finalized design for him or anything, but this is kind of like the idea that I have. So it's if you look by my hands here, um, he is a magician. So this world that I'm creating, it is about magicians living in kind of a Wild West setting, is what I'm thinking of. Because I really like the thought of mixing like spell casting and stuff like that with guns. I just really like that concept. And because of that, I thought like, okay, Wild West, because I really like the aesthetics of a Wild West setting. And I'm very inspired actually by one of my favorite games of all time, Wild Arms, which kind of does this. It mixes like magic and Wild West, like using guns and stuff. Not really in this to the same degree or in the same way that I'm thinking of doing in my story, but it's still very interesting, and I'm really inspired by that. So what I'm thinking is like a lot of characters will be just very like, okay, this is a magician. He looks like a magician. He's wearing the hat. He has to robe and stuff like that. He's toting this huge staff or wand or whatever. And then there will also be people who are just they're just gunslingers. This guy, he's got a gun. Like if you shoot somebody, they will bleed and they might die. Right? It is still that kind of reality. Even though I am definitely planning on like creating more like superhuman characters and stuff like that. But the main character, I have basically nothing on what I want the main character to be. Like I just know that the characters that I have so far, I don't want them to be the main characters. Like this guy right here to my right, yeah. He will not be the main character, because I don't want him to be the main character, because I really like the way I've thought of him is kind of as a strong, powerful like side character that exists in this world. I have this whole I kind of have a backstory for him. He's probably one of the more fleshed out characters that I've actually written down. Let's see here. Yeah, I definitely written more about him than anyone else so far. Barry Petal, he's about 220 centimeters tall without the hat on, and stuff like that. But talking about main characters, because it is so, would you say pivotal to, like, it's very, very important to me to have like a very a good main character. Of course, that goes for almost any story, but I don't even know if this character should be young or old, or if they're a man or woman, or like what if they're like non-binary or something. I don't know. Like I have nothing. Like it's very open right now what they might be. Like I just know, like I want them to live in this one town that I'm kind of trying to base the story around at the moment. And I want them to be somewhat involved in a kind of like organization or something that I've thought of. But aside from that, I don't really know, because I want a character that seems, or rather, I don't know if I want a character that seems cool or more like friendly and nice and welcoming, like, because in the story, I really just have a concept right now. I don't have like a storyline. I have a few characters that I want in the story to do some specific, like particular things that I have in mind, but I haven't been able to write a grand story around that. Like I've actually even, I started writing a very rough draft of like the first chapter, like, and this is, that's my phone. I'm gonna put it on silent mode. And I haven't, okay, so I've written down parts of the first chapter, and this is going to be a story that I draw. Actually, I'm making a comic book, or whatever you want to call it, like a web comic, I guess it'll be. So I'm just writing down a rough draft for what I want to happen in the first ever chapter, and so far, like I haven't even shown the main character, and I think I've written like maybe 2 pages. And that's fine, like, because the way I'm writing it is very like descriptive, just to make it easier for me in the future when I'm gonna draw it. Like, okay, so I want this kind of, like, I want to show this thing in this angle. I want the person to do these things and say these things in this particular order, stuff like that. So it's very like detailed, and just a way for me to make it easier on myself in the future when I actually get to drawing it. But yeah, the main character is such a problem for me. Because the whole story will grow around the main character, so it really makes it difficult for me. But yeah, so we have this guy, we have Barry Petal. Like I guess I'll go through like just a few of the very basic ideas that I have for characters. So we have Barry Petal, this mage right here. Then I have like 2 agents that are part of the organization that I'm thinking the main character is going to be involved in some kind of way. I don't know if maybe the main character is actually a part of the organization, or they're just acquainted with people in the organization, or maybe like their relatives or something are part of the organization. Who knows? And then we have this character. As of right now, he's named Rudolph. He's he's the founder of the organization. He's even the founder of the city, the town, the village, whatever it might be, that this story will start off in. And he's a powerful mage. Yeah, I don't think I want to go in too deep on what the characters are all about. So Rudolph is a madman. He's gone crazy because, because of a reason that I will not say right here. And because of that, he reached, it basically reached a boiling point where the people of the organization that he founded, they rose up and just dethroned him. Like they kicked him out of the organization and said, "Bye, you're out of here, Rudolph. You're not good anymore. You were great before, but now you've gone mad. We don't want you." Right? And then the new head of the organization, Ull, is a big, tall woman. Like I want her to be like kind of like a big, nice grandma who's also a badass because she's like a super powerful mage, something like that. So those those are also two characters that I've thought of that I don't really want to like. I don't want either of them to be the main character, and like especially when I talk about them right now, like you can probably tell that like they're not the main character type of characters. They're more like they might be important characters in the story. They might be returning characters. Or frequently returning characters, like Rudolph might be like a villain or something, or Ul might even be a villain. Who knows? I know who is what, but trying to combat like so those are just two two of the characters that I've kind of thought about a little bit. Like, okay, I have like a relationship between these two, a reason why they might not get along or something like, and maybe this story will start off being about that, like being about Rudolph and how he has handled like being kicked out of this organization. Like what does he do now? Like when he's lost so much of his, I guess you could call it power. Not that he lost his magical powers, but more that he lost his power within the organization and the town that he lives in as a result. And then there's all like, she's the new leader. Like, what does she do differently? Is she a good leader? Is she a bad leader? Does she struggle? Like stuff like that. What else? Well, if I just try to brainstorm a little bit about the main character here. So the main character, so what if I'm trying to force myself a little bit, like I want them to be like a cool character, and more than likely it'll be a man, because it's easier for me to relate to and write about a man, even though I don't think a woman would be a problem. It might even be more interesting considering the setting and stuff like that. And yeah, either way, so like just for brainstorming's sake, let's say it is a man. And this man is I want to say around like late teens to mid 20s at the oldest, because that's kind of the audience that I think I'm writing for, or that I want to write for. Yeah, see, this is so tough, especially trying to do it like off the top of my head for this podcast as well. But so if I try to connect this main character to the magic system, like, okay, what makes this character special? Like, because the magic system that I've built up, it really, like, I feel like it thrives on people just being smart about the type of magic that they try to use. It's very like it's not very reminiscent, but I really want to do something similar to kind of how Nen works in Hunter x Hunter, or stands in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, something like that. A power system that really like it has a lot of opportunities, but it still has some very strict rules that you need to follow in order for these powers to work, right? Like stands in JoJo's, most of them have a different range, and depending on the range that they might have, the stand itself might be more powerful. But even if it is powerful, it might just have a weak, like, let's say a magic. Like a powerful stand could be like physically powerful, right? But maybe it doesn't have any specific abilities, while other stands might be really weak, but they have a powerful ability, stuff like that. And Nen in Hunter x Hunter is such like that is just huge. It's basically the author just said like, yeah, I'm going to make them able to basically do anything that they need to be able to do, as long as they can think of a way to exploit this power system, essentially. Which that I guess more than stands, that's kind of what I want to build with this power system. But then what does the main character do? Like, what power does the main character have? Do they even have a power yet, or will they be developing it throughout the story? Maybe the story starts when they learn of their power. That is actually a pretty interesting thought, I guess. Like, maybe it starts with the main character learning this ability, which results in maybe them getting involved with the organization, or maybe because they do this, they get in trouble with like the law, or maybe they get, maybe it's like forbidden magic or something, and people realize what they've done and they become an outcast, and because of that they reach out to the organization or something like that. I think that that's a pretty interesting thought. I might want to use that. But then again, like, what would that magic be, and how can I make, like, because I don't want it to be too complicated that you struggle to understand what it is about before you learn about the magic system properly. Which means I need it to be fairly simple and straightforward to understand what the magic does, and then you can then I can expand on it later on. So that'll be a challenge. But yeah, I really like that idea, actually. I really like it. I think I'm gonna go with that. And if we're saying like maybe late teens, mid 20s man, and then their appearance, that is totally. I'm gonna have to work on that for quite a while, because it's gonna be a character that I keep drawing over and over and over. So I want them to be fun to draw. All right, that's actually the timer for my food that I have in the oven. We've been going for already 18 minutes. Damn, I guess I can talk a lot when I'm not thinking. But I will have cut out a few things. I'm gonna cut this out as well. Well, my food is done, so I'm gonna take it out of the oven and have a nice meal, actually. But this has been just a short little episode of me talking about the story that I'm writing, Trolldom. I don't know. You can probably find me on Instagram. I'm Mr. Goblin Ear. You can find me on ArtStation as Doffman, Doffman, and Mr. Goblin Ear is spelled with an MR for Mr. And you can also find me on Twitter. I'm going to check it right now because I don't remember my Twitter handle. Yeah, and my Twitter handle is Robin Doff, ROBIN DOFF. So you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on ArtStation. If you want to look at my art, I post on those three the most. I do believe I got some type of art app that I don't even remember the name of. I am on DeviantArt as well. And there I think I'm still using my old handle, being Xeonim, XEONIM. You can find me on DeviantArt as well. Maybe not that relevant. If you're watching this on YouTube, you feel free to subscribe if you want to keep listening, and if you're listening on any other podcast platform, subscribe here if possible as well. And I guess I'll see you around. See you next time, hopefully next week. Goodbye.